in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about
Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadguruntam Namami. Nithyanandam, everybody. We welcome each and every one of you for today's session, which is the introduction to Paramashivoham Level 3 program. A few security measures from KAILASA's National Security Agency before we enter into the session. Photography, video and audio recording of any kind is strictly prohibited. Please be on mute and be on camera. And if you need to step out due to some unavoidable situation, please inform the digital security officer. A few important cautions. We welcome all the Kailasavasis attending from Kailasa's monasteries, gurukuls, temples, ashrams and centers from around the world. We welcome all the Nithyananda TV, Kailasa TV, Hinduism Now TV, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook viewers and all those who are blessed to have the Nayana Diksha, which is the two-way video conferencing, who are joining us for today's program from around the world. Let us now have a brief introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, is the reviver of Kailasa, which is the ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 1008th living incarnation of Paramashiva, who has been recognized by his predecessors who are enlightened masters and adepts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga and temple-based universities a lifestyle for humanity. Let us look at a brief timeline of the various coronations of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Before 1981, he was identified as the 1008th living incarnation of Paramashiva by spiritual adepts and enlightened masters of Hinduism. And in the year 1981, he was initiated into Bala Sannyas and Chaturmasya at the age of 3. In the year 1988, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as a future Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Tonde Mandala Adinam. In the year 1994, he was declared as the successor of Arunachala Sarvanyapeetham by the Guru Parampara on 24th of May. In the year 1999, he founded the mission Nithyananda Sangha to revive Kailasa internationally. In the year 1999, he was also coronated as the successor of Kashi Sarvanyapeetham. In the year 2002, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded the Adi Kailasa Sarvanyapeetham on 4th of November. And in the year 2004, on 1st of January, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the successor of Bhagyanagara, the Sripura Sarvanyapeetham. Following which, the same year, in the year 2004, on 31st of December, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the incumbent emperor of the Suryavamsa Surangi Samrajyam of the Suryavamsa lineage. Here, we're looking at the coronations during the year 2007, when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Adi Pallava Sarvanyapeetham and was also declared as the Mahamandaleshwar of the Mahanirvani Akhada. In the year 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 293rd Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam of Madurai Shamala Pita Sarvanyapeetham, which is the oldest Hindu papal state and the monastic kingdom. Following these coronations in the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated as the Mahamandaleshwar, the supreme spiritual head of Mahanirvani Akhada, which is the largest apex monastic order, as the youngest Mahamandaleshwar. In the year 2013, he was also declared as the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of the Atal Akhada, the oldest monastic order in Hinduism by Acharya Mahamandaleshwar Sukhdevanandaji, who was the then incumbent spiritual head. In the year 2014, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Tanjavur Adinam, Tiruvarur Adinam, Vedaranyam Adinam, and the Panchanadi Kulam. In the year 2015, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of Dharmamukti Swargapuram Adinam. Following which, the same year, he was also coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Adi Pita Koladamatha and was elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 spiritual leaders and pontiffs. So till now, we have looked at a brief introduction of the various coronations of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Let us now look at some of the global initiatives about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and then we'll be diving deep into one of the major initiatives by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which is the Ishanya Project. Over the last 28 years, over relentless humanitarian services and initiatives, including free vegetarian food, medical services, natural disaster relief, women empowerment initiatives, conflict resolution and peace initiatives, sustainable Hindu practices through various international agencies and bodies. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has authored over 300 books and 10,000 articles in 3 languages, English, Tamil, and Sanskrit, and these have also been translated into 50 languages with over 1,000 titles. With over 20 million copies of books and articles sold, read, and downloaded, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established the world's largest Hindu library with over 1 million books, million family scriptures, and over 20 million digital books. He is also revered as the most prolific and most viewed digital guru in the world, and read and watched by 1 billion plus followers in Hinduism. With over 10,000 hours of discourses and over 1 billion views on social media, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been respected as the commentator of all the sacred scriptures such as the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, Shiva Sutras, Yoga Sutras, Ashtavakra Gita, Jain Sutras, etc. He has also been honored as the leader of Hinduism, the most awarded internationally recognized Hindu leader. He has also been acclaimed as one of the top 100 spiritually influential living personalities by Watkins Mind Body Spirit magazine. The sovereign order of KAILASA that has been led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Nithyananda Order of Monks, Nuns, and Hindu Diaspora are working for global peace and to give a superconscious breakthrough to the entire humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also established the world's largest Hindu university with satellite campuses in over 150 countries. He is also the establisher of 1,000 plus Kailasa Enlightenment ecosystems and the founder and reviver of over 100 Sarvanyapeethams. So till now, we had a brief glimpse of the various global initiatives by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and also the various contributions of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in various fields. Next, we're going to be diving deep into understanding one of the major initiatives of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which is the Ishanya Project. We're going to be looking at it after a short break. I request all the participants and viewers from around the world to please stay tuned.
Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence.
Nithyananda, everybody, welcome back. Let us now enter into the next segment, which is going to be the manifestation of extraordinary powers, after which we're going to be entering into the global initiatives of the Ishanya project. In the Vedagamas, which are the source scriptures of Hinduism, Paramashiva reveals in elaborate detail that every human being is hardwired to manifest 463 powers or the divine Shaktis of Paramashiva. Manifesting powers are described as a system, a method, and a science for human beings to explore the various possibilities and powers and to have access to various states of consciousness. Paramashiva is the primordial divinity in Hinduism. He is the ultimate reality and cause, which is self-effulgent, Swayam Prakasha, all-pervading, unchanging beyond time, space, form, and causality. As the fundamental base of Avyakta, which is the unmanifest, and the Vyakta, the manifest existence, he performs the Panchakritya, or the five cosmic acts of Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Prabhava, and Anugraha: creation, sustenance, rejuvenation, pulling out of delusion, and liberation. So let us now enter into the power manifestation. The initiated disciples will now be demonstrating the powers of the third eye and will be manifesting these powers. So if any of you would like to experience this power manifestation, can drop a message on our social media platforms, which are now streaming live. In the power of body scanning, one awakens the ability to scan illnesses, diseases, medically diagnosed issues, and provide solutions through the awakened third eye. The Shastra Pramana, which is the scriptural reference of this power manifestation, is given in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra Sutra 54. Swadehe jagato vapi sukshma sukshmatarani cha tattva niyani nilayam dhyatvante vyajyate para. Bhagavan Paramashiva says, cognites deeply that from the subtle to the subtlest constitutive principles of a whole body or the whole universe simultaneously consists of the essential reality. They are being absorbed in the source cause, which is Paramashiva. By the experience of such restful awareness, one becomes complete from all thoughts, and the ultimate universal divine power, Paradevi, Adishakti, is revealed, and the supreme power manifestation happens. And here we're looking at the Apta Pramana, which is the experience of one of the Vedic rishis. Thereyer was a Siddhan, one of the prominent disciples of Agatya. One day, a man who was suffering from severe headache comes to Agatya for healing. Agatya uses the power of body scanning and identifies the root cause of the headache. He reveals that there is a small tere, which is a type of frog sitting in the person's brain. Agatya immediately instructs Thereyer, his disciple, to perform an open-head surgery and to remove the frog. After the surgery is completed successfully, the person is healed and cured of the headache, thus he gained the name Thereyer. And here we're looking at the Atma Pramana, which is the personal experience from the life of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. On 22nd of December 2019, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revealed an instance of where he uses the power of body scanning. Paraphrasing his words, only when I had the multiple compound hand fracture, I was forced to go for surgery and therefore for medical checkups related to that. At that time, they detected heavy metal quantity in my different organs. It was revealed that I had been poisoned without our knowledge, and it was immediately used diagnostic methods instead of medical facilities to study the body conditioning due to the poison. Through the body scanning, I found out what the problems and imbalances that happen and where the balances had to be done. I used allopathy as a second opinion to verify my findings. As a living incarnation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism embodies the most profound yogic states that surpass all the bounds of time, space, and matter. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is gifting this pure and great science of third eye, along with many other spiritual sciences, through the initiations, which are the Dikshas. And millions of people have been initiated by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and are experiencing profound results as extraordinary powers in their day-to-day life. You can receive all of these by receiving the initiations during the Paramashivoham program. Head over to kailasa.org/Paramashivoham, where you could register yourself for the Paramashivoham Level 3 program that is going to be starting on October 6th. So let us now enter into a quick power manifestation. We have Sharma who has requested for the power of body scanning. So I will now be chanting the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, and manifesting this power of body scanning. I request all the participants and viewers who are sitting with us from around the world as well to sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. And let us chant the Mahavakya, connecting ourselves in the space of oneness with Swamiji and revealing whatever Swamiji is showing. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Yes, what Swamiji revealed is that Mr. Sharma, you've been having a pain on your left hand shoulder area, where near the shoulder you've been having intense pain. And this was actually has been going on for you for the last couple of weeks, where you actually accidentally had slipped and fallen, and after which you fell on that side of your body from which the pain has started coming in. And you've also been trying to think or see if it has got to do anything with your bones. You can be sure that it's got nothing to do with your bones, but there is your muscles have been severely damaged, which is the reason you've been having so much of pain. What Swamiji revealed is for you to go on with a cold pack and to make sure that you've been giving enough uh, kind of massage and pressure to it, so that eventually the pain will cease and you'll be completely relaxed. So Swamiji revealed this. You can share with all of us how you're able to relate with what was revealed. So with that, we're coming towards the conclusion of this particular segment. Let us move on to the next segment after a short break. Please stay tuned.
Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence.
Nithyanam, everybody, welcome back. In this segment, we're going to be looking at the Ishanya project, which is one of the very important and very powerful initiative taken by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to alleviate poverty and to raise the consciousness of the entire world. Humanity, as a modern society, we have already reached a state of technology and infrastructure that is required for the entire world, 8 billion people. Unfortunately, the only reason why the poverty still exists is because our decision makers have not reached the conscious level that is needed to provide the basic needs for all the 8 billion people. The survival needs for all the 8 billion people does not depend on the resources that we have, but rather on the consciousness of the decision makers. It's only the consciousness that we lack and nothing else. So here we're looking at a glimpse of the various wastages that exist. One side, we have huge amount of food wastage where huge amount of food, tons and tons of food gets wasted in oceans and landfills just to maintain the steady prices. On the other side, millions die due to hunger, as we know. One side, medical equipments, even though sometimes unused new models just get thrown so that they can get replaced for higher and higher and new models. And the other side, people, millions die again without access to even the very basic medical equipment. Similarly, with clothes, one side dumps humongous amount, tons and tons of barely worn clothes into the ocean. The other side struggles with even basic clothing and having hygiene issues. Similarly, with the home and shelter, one side faces home foreclosure and is empty and locked, whereas the other side, homelessness is soaring in the millions. So here is a quick infographic of the food wastage. As we can see, humongous amount of wastage which is there, where even if just 1/3 of what is saved, what is wasted can be saved, then we can alleviate food-based poverty in the entire world. Approximately 1/3 of the food that is produced in the world for human consumption every year which is about 1.3 billion tons gets lost or wasted. Food loss and waste amount up to over 680 billion US dollars in industrialized countries and over $310 billion in the developing countries. With over 155 million people in 55 countries, have faced a food crisis in 2021, especially adding to the number, it has increased to over 265 million due to the COVID pandemic. Even if just 1/4 of the food that is wasted can be saved, it is enough to feed 870 million hungry people around the world. 35 million people are dying from hunger, and a child dies from hunger every 10 seconds. So poor diets are linked to over 20% of all the death rates worldwide. Here is a quick infographic on the medical wastage. Let's dive deep into it. The US medical waste will attain over USD 5.25 billion by 2027. As you can understand, it's a huge amount. Among the regulated and unregulated clinical waste, about 80 to 85% of the medical equipments can be reused. Unused supplies in the medical facilities are often discarded unnecessarily rather than stored for later use, adding even more unnecessary garbage being carted away to the landfills. The reprocessing industry saving over 15 million pounds of medical waste from landfills and the reducing the cost to hospitals and surgical centers by over 544 million. So as you can see, the huge amount of wastage that exists, and even if a little of it can be recycled and used and given to the people who are in need, so much of service can be done to the world. And literally half the world lacks essential healthcare. 100 million still pushed into extreme poverty just due to the health expenses. And here's with the clothing wastage. 100 billion garments are produced every year, with over 33% going to landfill. Every year, 59,000 tons of used and unsold clothing ends up in Chile from all over the world. Every 10 minutes, to put it on an average, every 10 minutes, an estimated 6,000 kilos of clothing and textiles are dumped in the landfills. 6 tons of clothing is dumped every 10 minutes. And 1 in 8 children were without basic clothing, and 1 billion children worldwide are multidimensionally poor without even access to the basic accessories. 22,000 children die each day due to inhygiene around the world. So once again, if these can be saved, if these can be recycled and given to those people who are in need, we can bring out so much of poverty from around the world. Here are some statistics on the vacant shelters. The world has actually millions of vacant homes. 42 million of 426 million homes are vacant. You need to understand it is 42 million homes are vacant. Roughly 1 in 10 homes in advanced economies are empty. Japan has topped the list of nations with the highest percentage of vacant homes, with over 13.6 of its dwellings not lived in, and 1.3 million are in Canada. 27% increase in homelessness is likely due to the COVID economic crisis that the pandemic has caused. More than one third of all the people facing homelessness services are women and children. And over the last 5 years, core homelessness has been raising year on year in the world. Homelessness are over 9 times more likely to take their own life than the general population. That's a matter of fact. And 78% of the homeless people are reported to have a physical condition, 44 of them having a mental condition, and 41 using drugs and alcohol to cope up with the mental health issues. So as we can see, literally 1 in 10 houses being empty in one side. On the other side, again, millions are homeless and without any shelter. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals, raise the consciousness level in the world and bring to the fore the real issues facing the world, and through a specialized process of recycling, facilitating the movement of good quality, unwanted items from the haves, the have-nots. This Chaturmasya, which is the 4 months from July to October 2022, 1 crore people should practice Samadhi to raise the consciousness, and 1 crore people should be pulled out of poverty. This is the main aim of the Ishanya. Let us look at some of the benefits of the Ishanya project. As we know, for donors, it's a great boon because you are actually able to provide to those in need. For the world as such, we have been recycling a huge amount of content, which removes a lot of hazardous material from adding to the nature, adding to a cleaner environment. And of course, for those in need, millions of people around the world will be alive, will be pulled out of poverty, pulled out of hunger and inadequate health practices due to the lack of medical facilities. So as we can see, it's a win-win-win project. And how are we going to do it? A quick glimpse into that. Over the last 27 years, Sri KAILASA has built a network of legal entities in over 140 countries around the world, with holding charity status in over 118 of these countries. In many countries, Sri KAILASA's entities are also registered distributors as well, which means that we can also manage the entire process end to end. So we will be making full use of this network to collect the clothing, medical equipment, food material from the developed nations, transport them and distribute it to countries and regions that are in need, with all transportation and distribution expenses being sponsored completely by Sri KAILASA. Here is a quick glance of the process where the collection happens from all the various different parts of the world where there's a lot of wastage of unwanted items, after which it goes through a sternest quality control through a professional team, and the processing of the received goods happen, after which the distribution of these good quality clothing and medical equipments, food and other things get shipped across. So here we are looking at just some numbers of the Ishanya project in Madurai, India. Almost 26,800 servings of food were offered to homeless and hungry on just one day. Jayatinagar in Sri Lanka, over 2,000 meals were served at Mahadeva Swamikal Children's Home. In Kotagala region in Sri Lanka, 25,000 articles of clothing donated and distributed. In Hyderabad, weekly Annadan feeding hundreds of poor villages from around the world. In Tiruvannamalai, which is in Tamil Nadu, non-stop day and night Annadan and healing sessions happen for hundreds of thousands of pilgrims who are circumambulating the sacred Arunachala hill. So if you want to be part of it, either as a donor or you want to volunteer or you want to be a person, someone who wants to receive these donations, head over to gov.srikailasa.org/Ishanya, where you can also register yourself for the Ishanya project. You can become a part of the project, whether you want to receive or donate or you want to volunteer your time and energy. You can go over and you can register yourself for the Ishanya project, and we shall get in touch with you. So this is one of the brief initiatives, one of the many initiatives taken by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. In the next segment, we're going to be looking at in detail about the Paramashivoham Level 3 program and what are the different benefits that we can gain from the Paramashivoham Level 3 program. Stay tuned. We shall come back after a short break.
Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence.
Nithyanam, everybody, welcome back. So here we're looking at the Paramashivoham Level 3 registration link. Please head over to kailasa.org/Paramashivoham to register yourself for the upcoming Paramashivoham Level 3 program that is going to be directly conducted by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism from October 6th to 26th. As we all know, over the last few days, we've been blessed to have the live webinar by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism on the 64 forms of Paramashiva and how we can be directly benefited from it. And at this point, I just wanted to take a few minutes to share with each and every one of you about some of the various aspects of the Paramashivoham Level 3 program. As we all know, the Paramashivoham Level 3 program, one of the very key aspects that we all of us would be receiving is the superconscious mutation from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has not only been revealing the truths but initiating each and every one of us to receive the initiations of the higher consciousness. So and so, by and by, where we have been currently advancing and the scientific world has also been advancing. We've been learning about a lot of things. And one of the many things that have come up is about the epigenetics. And this has been presented by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and you can search for it as well, where he very clearly debunks the theory that our life, our whatever we are, is controlled by our genes. Rather, it is controlled by our consciousness. This is the same thing that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed from the Vedas and the Agamas. As Hindus, we have been a very, very advanced civilization, knowing all these truths way ago. Over tens of thousands of years ago itself, all of these have been documented in our Vedas and Agamas. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares during one of the satsangs that your DNA is the closest matter to the consciousness. So, whatever problems you're going through in your life, whether it is struggle with respect to your day-to-day living, or you have relationship issues, you have self-confidence issues, or you have some career issues, all the problems that you are facing is actually because of the wrong knot, chit jatak granthi, between your consciousness and your DNA. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism very beautifully reveals that based on what kind of sound, it is sound that actually ties your consciousness to the DNA. And if the sound is a negative sound, in which case you will be facing a huge amount of problem in your day-to-day life. But if that very sound is actually a powerful sound, such as the Mahavakya, you will see that the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, this particular sound can actually destroy any other previous wrong sounds that tied your consciousness and your DNA and can reprogram to give you a superconscious mutation. This is not just revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, but has been given as a solution and initiation during the Paramashivam Level 3 program. And as we know, we have thousands of participants who have received the benefits of the Paramashivam Level 3 program. And we have so many testimonials and participants sharing as well from around the world. So if you are thinking as to what are the problems that you're going through in your life, if you're feeling that you're stuck and you want to have a breakthrough, it is time for you to make a big change, so that for you to look at what is it that is actually binding you. Or if you're a person who strongly believes that you have inherited various untold, or there's like nothing else that you could do about it, various problems due to your inheritance, due to your genes, you can see that this can be broken. Even the recent scientific studies about epigenetics, which says epi, which means above the genetics. So you're no more actually controlled by your genes, but your genes react to the situation and the environment around you, to the sounds that is actually being presented, or to the sounds that is actually being that it is listening to. The genes respond that way. So when you are chanting the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, that sound gets invoked and you are able to manifest the powerful life. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism also gives a very powerful technique to experience this in our life. When are the best moments of our life where we can have a superconscious mutation? Till now, to our understanding, the evolution itself, if you go by the Darwin's theory of evolution, it basically says that human beings evolved from one to another as a matter of accident, not as a planned evolution. But that is not the truth. The evolution has always happened to adapt itself to the environment. That is how it has always happened. So for you to have a superconscious breakthrough, if you have that kind of an environment around you, you will see that you go through a superconscious mutation. We have seen mutants as such and seen there are various videos, films, and articles that have come out with respect to mutants which portray them on a negative connotation. But the superconscious mutation will lead you to the higher and higher states of consciousness. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals that by chanting the Mahavakya while you are feeling hungry, while you're feeling angry, or when you're feeling sleepy, or when you're feeling lusty, these four situations, these four times are the best times where you can receive the superconscious mutation. So especially when you're feeling these emotions and during these times, if you chant the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, you will see that whatever old sound bound your DNA and your consciousness together will be broken and it will be reprogrammed to have a superconscious breakthrough. And of course, all of this can be done just like that by the initiation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism during the Paramashivoham Level 3 program. And what I'm sharing here is just what I'm sharing here is just one of the various things that we would be receiving during the Paramashivoham Level 3 program. So once again, I request each and every one of you, do not miss this opportunity. Head over to kailasa.org/Paramashivoham to book yourself and to register yourself for the Paramashivoham Level 3 program. So with that, we are actually coming towards the conclusion of today's particular segment. We're going to be moving on to the next segment where we're going to be having the live satsang by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism after a short break. Please stay tuned.
Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence. Success is not just the zeros you see in your bank balance. It is your conscious sovereignty. It is you feeling so good about you. You celebrating your own existence.
Connecting with the Divine with your eyes closed is meditation. Connecting with the Divine with your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes.
சுண்ணாம்பு போல சுருச்ச மோகத்துக்கே எங்க சூரிய நர்வமூசம் எங்கெங்கே வாச்சிச்சோ வெத்தல போல விரிச்ச மோகத்துக்கே எங்க சந்திர நர்வமூசம் எங்கெங்கே வாச்சிச்சோ